Welcome to video 2, Finding Your Niche. Now, this is probably one of the shortest videos in this entire series. However, don't let the short length of this fool you, because this particular step of creating your business is probably one of the most important parts. And so I want you to really take your time and dig into these questions. And if you're a highly visual person, I would encourage you to create something visual, possibly in Canva, where you can keep this in front of you as you continue to plan out the rest of your business. We are going to come back to the answers to the questions that you have for this particular section of the process in your business plan, in your marketing plan. And so this really is, I think, one of the most important steps in creating your business. So finding your niche really is all about who you are as an educator and what's important to you as an educator and the way that you want to show up as an educator. This is more about you than it is about your students. So you can go ahead and pause this video, but I want you to get something that you can write with, something that you can write on, or open up another tab in a Google Doc or a word processing doc. But somewhere I want you to really sit with these questions and take some time to think about them deeply and answer them. So first, I'm going to look at the questions. I know I have questions on the left and questions on the right, but I want you to think about what your core beliefs are as an educator. What are your beliefs around student learning? What do you think makes a good teacher? What do you think makes a successful learner? How are you different as an educator than other teachers in your content area or in your grade level or other teachers that you've worked with? Really take some time. This is something that I know we talked about in my teacher preparation program. And we had to do our mission statement as educators and our teaching philosophy. I had to write a whole paper on my teaching philosophy. And I don't think anybody ever asked me anything about that in any teaching interview I had ever been on. But this is a place where you actually need to take some inventory and reflect on that question again. Next, what is the most important thing your students gain from their time with you? What's the most important thing that your students gain from their time with you? Is it knowledge about the content area? Is it their belief in themselves as learners or as people? Is it that they learn highly valuable executive functioning skills or study skills, or that they have grit and are able to do hard things that will serve them later in life over and above the content knowledge? So I want you to sit with that question for a moment, thinking about your career as an educator and the students that you've taught. What is the most important thing that your students have gained from their time with you? And then finally, why did you become a teacher in the first place? Some of us have been in the classroom longer than others, have suffered different experiences in that time that they were in the classroom that has possibly even begged that question of, why did I even sign up for this? Why did I become a teacher? But think back to when you first started teaching, or even maybe when you were in your teacher preparation programs. Why did you become a teacher in the first place? And take some time to connect with that, because the private practice teaching realm is very different from the classroom teaching realm. And as you go forward in your business and distinguish yourself from other educators that are out in the private practice teaching business and in the private tutoring business and in the course creation business, the answers to these questions on the right-hand side are going to be the things that are going to differentiate you from the competition. So it's important to take time to get clear on those things. Then I want you to think about the W questions that are on the left. Who do you want to teach? Get very clear about the ages and the grade levels and the types of learners that you would like to teach. Perhaps you have a passion for the pre-K through grade 3 group. You just love the littles. Or maybe you prefer to work with students that are disadvantaged in some way. Or you prefer to work with exceptional learners or non-neurotypical learners. So think about, get as specific as you can. Who would you really love to teach? This is kind of the dream phase. You will attract more than just your dream students, but it's helpful to know where you want to get to. If you could have your entire student schedule filled with one specific type of student, what would that student be? What would that student be like? Next, what do you want to teach? It doesn't necessarily have to be the areas that you're certified in. We know that great teachers can teach a variety of things. So you may have special interests, special skills, special knowledge in an area that you're not necessarily certified for, but you believe you could wholeheartedly teach and teach very well. If that's something that you would love to do, then write that in here. What would you love to teach? And please notice I'm using the word love instead of can. What would you love to teach? And this is important because it's that love of the who, the what, the when, the where, the how that will give you the energy to continue to show up as you need to show up in your business. Then when you're clear on what you love to teach, and if it's multiple things, maybe try to put them in order of the thing you love most to the thing you love least, not dislike, but love least. Then think about when. When would you love to teach? So create that schedule, the dream schedule as I call it. And then for realistic reasons, I think it's helpful to have, when would I like to teach? And some of those hours may be not your ideal working hours, but your okay working hours. For most of us, as we get started, we do end up taking on some of those tutoring students, meaning those students that are in school during the day. And so we have to take some of our late afternoon, early evening hours, or even later evening hours in order to earn the income that we need to be earning. But I've not had any tutoring students in the last 2 years. So while I did have tutoring students fairly heavily my first year, I had less my second year. I had 0 tutoring students in my third and fourth years of business because I've been able to build up my daytime clientele to the point that I no longer need to sacrifice those afternoon and evening hours for working with students. So when we're talking about the when you're going to teach, have your dream schedule, and then have your okay to work schedule. Next, where do you want to teach? And I almost feel like I could have switched the where and the how. So we can go ahead and do that now. The how do you want to teach? Being, do you want to teach 100% online? Do you want to teach 100% in person? Do you want to teach hybrid where you could have multiple students in a class, some are online, some are in person? Or you could teach students like I do, where I teach my local students in person, unless one of my children has a doctor's appointment or we're sick or I'm sick. And then I simply message my students and say, hey, we're online today. I have a cold, or I'm not feeling well, or my kid's not feeling well. A lot of times I don't even have to tell them anything. I can just say, we're online today. And then we meet via video conferencing. Personally, I like the flexibility, or even if I want to travel with my family, I can still see my students. If I have students that take an hour or a half hour twice out of my beach week, and then I don't end up losing any of my income for that month. So I like having the flexibility of that, which then leads us into the where. Where would you like to teach? So if you do want to see students in person, where do you want to meet them? Do you want to meet at a Starbucks or a Panera or a cafe or some public place like that where there happens to be good Wi-Fi and possibly something to eat or drink? You could meet them at the library. I think that's another great option. I know some teachers that meet students in their own homes. When I was a younger person tutoring, I used to go to my students' homes and tutor them in their own homes. So think about where logistically you would like to be teaching. If you want to teach completely online, do you want to teach out of your home? Or would you rather go somewhere else and not be a work from home person in order to see your students? Perhaps a co-working space might be a good option for you. So those are the questions. Take some time to think about them. And when you're ready, I'll see you in the next video.